What's up, Taiwan? I'm Jaime Ocon with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. There's been a surprising development in Taiwan's presidential race. Ko Wen-je, candidate for the Taiwan People's Party, usually considered the third force in a two-party system, has taken the lead in a recent poll. Bing Wong has the details.
Just under 7 months to go until Taiwan's presidential elections, and campaigning has begun heating up. But there's been an unexpected twist. According to a recent poll, Ko Wen-je, candidate for the Taiwan's People's Party, is now the presidential frontrunner. The poll from local media outlet TVBS found that 33% of people surveyed supported the former Taipei city mayor in his run for the presidency. The findings show Vice President Lai Ching-te, the candidate for the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, or DPP, coming in second with 30%, while Huawei of the main opposition Kuomintang, or KMT, is trailing at 23%. The Taiwan People's Party is usually considered a third-force party. It was only formed in 2019 and says it provides middle ground between the two main political rivals. On the campaign trail, Ko has been actively engaging in grassroots communities and participating in charity badminton matches. He says strengthening Taiwan's healthcare system is one of his top priorities. The DPP's Lai has been leading in other recent polls, but he's acknowledged his waning support in southern Taiwan and that a series of recent sexual abuse scandals have damaged his party's image.
民进党目前的确是比较逆风啦，不过我们严肃面对，采取高标准来处理每一个事件。我们希望能够重新得到社会的谅解，以及得到社会的支持。
Meanwhile, the KMT's Ho has continued to focus his attacks on the ruling party. He says the DPP has not taken proper care of the country's public sector workers or its military personnel.
民进党在执政的过程当中，利用媒体铺天盖地的说了一句话：“军公教都是米虫，只要我当选总统，让他拨乱反正。”
7 months is a long time in the presidential campaign, and a lot of things can change between now and January. But the People's Party's uptick in support will come as a big surprise to many, especially those who assumed this would be a two-party race. Annie Shi, Bing Wong for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's President Tsai met with a visiting delegation of Polish lawmakers on Monday. Tsai thanked the visitors for the country's friendship.
这几年来，台湾和波兰不只是共同对抗疫情，在去年乌俄战争爆发之后，我们也一起面对威权主义扩张的挑战。我们也期待台湾和波兰在各领域不断的深化伙伴关系。
On the same day, Tsai also met visiting Italian lawmakers. It's the first delegation from Italy since the new government took office there last year. The meeting comes after Taiwan announced it would open a representative office in Milan. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Joseph Wu also met Italian parliamentarians on Saturday during his visit to the country. Turning now to some international news. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Beijing on Monday. Just a day before, Blinken held talks for more than 7 hours with Foreign Minister Qin Gang. This is the first time a U.S. Secretary of State has visited China in 5 years. Blinken had previously planned to go in February, but his trip was postponed after a suspected Chinese spy balloon flew over the U.S. Officials in Washington hope the meetings will help open lines of communication and reduce tensions between the two superpowers. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has described a recent failed military satellite launch as his country's gravest failure. That's according to North Korean state media. Speaking at a Workers' Party meeting on Monday, Kim said he plans to analyze the failed launch and prepare for another attempt. North Korea launched a rocket carrying the country's first military spy satellite late last month that crashed into the sea just after takeoff. State TV says engine failure may have caused the crash. The satellite was part of North Korea's effort to boost its surveillance of South Korea and the United States. A ferry carrying 120 people caught fire off the coast of the central Philippines on Sunday. The Coast Guard was sent out to fight the fire and rescue passengers. No casualties have been reported. The Philippines is made up of more than 7,000 islands and has a poor record of maritime safety. In March, another passenger ferry erupted in flames, killing 29 people. Turkish police cracked down on a trans rights demonstration in Istanbul on Sunday. City officials had banned LGBTQ Pride Month events, saying it posed a threat to family values. A handful of protesters gathered in the city despite the ban. Police intervened and detained 6 people. It comes as LGBTQ rights dwindle in Turkey under the leadership of recently re-elected President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Back in Taiwan, Chinese tech giant Huawei has closed one of its last retail stores in the country. The company is best known for its smartphones, but because of its ties with China's government, it's had a complicated time navigating its overseas market. Joyce Tsang reports.
Closing time for good. Chinese telecom giant Huawei Technologies has shut down its last Taipei store, leaving just one outlet in the entire country. The company's distributor in Taiwan, Xunwei Tech, said that's because Huawei is switching up its marketing strategy. Huawei was once one of the world's largest smartphone makers, but it's been forced to restructure after several countries, including Taiwan, the US, Japan, and a handful of EU nations, banned it over fears its tech could be used by Beijing for spying. Taipei-based tech industry expert Marco Mezger says that's why Huawei shed its original brand.
This really was a drawback for them, in terms of global expansion for the smartphone. Huawei had basically to sell off their smartphone business for 5G to the brand called Honor.
But this change in focus has seen a similar fate. In Taiwan, local wireless carriers and government systems are blocked from using network equipment from Huawei and other Chinese companies like ZTE. Huawei's 5G products are also banned by the US, the UK, and Australia. Just days ago, the European Union urged more members to join the 10 that have already limited both Huawei and ZTE, citing risks to collective security. This would be a major blow for the company, considering its market share was higher in Berlin than in Beijing, where it faces stiff competition from rivals. China has opposed the EU's stance, saying the bans have no legal basis and would violate free market principles.
欧盟委员会口口声声说华为、中兴等中国通讯企业存在安全风险，却拿不出任何证据，这是典型的有罪推定。
Despite mounting restrictions, Huawei has largely stayed flexible, adapting its business model each time new limits are introduced. It reworked circuit boards when Washington blocked it from advanced chips, and it's now developing its own operating system after Google took away its Android license.
From a business perspective, the strategy, what they are doing, I think it's a good strategy that they try to build up their own software, the operating system. But starting this ecosystem from scratch, is difficult.
Though this flagship has just had its last day of business, Huawei's distributor says the sales in the country are actually doing well. Sales of laptops, wireless earphones, and tablets all went up last year. But only time will tell how scaling back its operations in the country will fit into Huawei's larger plans. Alex Chen and Joyce Sun for TaiwanPlus.
Police in the southern city of Tainan busted a suspected new employment scam ring over the weekend. On Saturday, police arrested 17 people in a raid who'd allegedly offered fake jobs as investors. 3 job seekers who fell for the scheme were told they'd have to work as drivers for the group instead. When the job seekers refused, police say suspects took them hostage, beat them, and demanded ransoms from their families. According to government websites, the number of employment fraud cases grew 61% from 2021 to 2022, with more than 300 additional cases. Climate change is threatening traditional Taiwanese culture. That's according to a report by Greenpeace. It says flooding is now more common during the plum rain season, putting the architecture at risk and affecting the economy of central Taiwan's traditional old towns. But in mountainous Alishan, indigenous Zhou people aren't getting enough rainfall, and warmer winters are making it harder to grow plants that are central to their culture. The report also adds that extreme heat is taking a toll on the annual Matsu pilgrimage. Nearly 1 million people join the 300-kilometer walk, which takes place in spring. Participants say that rising temperatures heighten the risk of heat stroke and could make the 9-day tradition too dangerous to continue.
以前因为我进家那么久，我有点习惯说妈祖下雨的时候会下雨，是当几率很高啊，但是连续4年都没有。
Farmers in southern Taiwan are raising concerns over damages caused by formosan Sika deer. Though once an endangered species, their increased numbers have them searching for food in farms. Chi has a story.
The formosan Sika deer, a species that at one point almost vanished from Taiwan's wilderness. After decades of repopulation efforts, they've become a common sight again in the country's south. But in places like the Hitched Peninsula, not everyone is happy the animals are back. The Sika deer is a native species in Taiwan, but human population growth and hunting nearly wiped it out. In the 1980s, Taiwan began releasing deer kept in captivity back into the wild. Over the years, the numbers have increased to several thousand in some areas. But the deer have no natural predators and are densely populated, which means they've started to look for food in nearby farmlands. Pingdong is the third largest source of red dragon fruit in Taiwan, with an annual production value of almost $4 million. But Sika deer frequently wander into plantations. Local farmers say that sometimes 80% of their fruit is eaten before it gets to shops. Farmers have started putting up fences to keep the deer out. Some have also been patrolling with dogs, while others have set up bird repellers, which make loud noises to scare away the deer. But these are far from suitable solutions. In some cases, deer have died after becoming trapped in fencing. Experts are now pushing to include the formosan Sika deer in the Forestry Bureau's Animal Conservation Plan. That way, farmers can be subsidized for helping to maintain their numbers.
它主要是针对包含了就是水獭、台湾黑熊、草鸮，然后现在还有包含水蛭，然后去做野生动物的保育，然后让农民就是有一份所谓的生态薪水。所以按照梅花鹿现在的身份是没有在这个范围之内的。
Around 2,000 formosan Sika deer roam freely on the Hitched Peninsula. Conservationists now face a new challenge: how to find a suitable balance between these indigenous animals and the people who make their livelihood in the area. Annie Xue and Chi for TaiwanPlus.
A Hong Kong couple has come to Taiwan to celebrate their marriage in a unique way, aboard a train. John Ventres gives us a look at what it's taking to get the couple's big day on track.
For their wedding, this Hong Kong couple has chosen to walk down the aisle of this Taiwanese train. Station attendant and railway writer Victor Siu and his girlfriend, who lived in Taiwan as a child, are tying the knot aboard this locomotive. They've chartered this workhorse of Taiwan's rails to take them and their guests on a journey through the scenic south. The couple first met at one of the groom's public railway talks, which the bride-to-be was emceeing 10 years ago. This is a trip now years in the making. The COVID pandemic forced them to scrap their original plan to take this journey in 2020. They've since registered their marriage in Hong Kong, but now it's full steam ahead for their special day. Taiwan's railway company says it's proud to be a part of it.
可以担任这班车的乘务，因为这班车非常有意义。新郎是港铁的司机员，所以我们这次可能会有台铁跟港铁哈，我们会穿上制服一起做合照。
Now that the couples exchange their rings, the groom hands over a different type of ring to the conductor, a cane hoop used before signals to show who has the right of way.
我觉得这个婚礼很特别，就是我没有试过，觉得这是很好的回忆。
And with that, they're off for a one-of-a-kind reception. Devin Tsai and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally today, check out this massive dinosaur skull being pieced together at Denmark's Museum of Evolution. I'm Jaime Ocon. Take care and see you next time.